Okay, well, let's get started with today's webinar. So, welcome everybody. Today's webinar, we are all about DIY digital collections. We are going to look at simple tools in Liberty Digital to help you get started. My name is Susanna and I am the marketing manager here at SoftLink IC. And today I'm going to show you how you can build and manage digital collections yourself with Liberty Digital. So let's get into it. Today is for solo librarians or those teams with limited time and resources. And by resources, I mean the dollars. I want you to spend a few minutes today so that you can see that you can build and manage a digital collection yourself easily with Liberty Digital. We're going to explore ways that you can connect to your catalogue and your collections, everything from heritage items to images using AI and other tools. I'll show you how you can create a unified experience with tools like our mobile app, SharePoint, Federated Search, and more in your library or information centre. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's make sure we are all on the same page. So when I think of a digital collection, this is what I'm thinking of. And my key takeaways here is that it's anything made accessible online, from internal publications to newsletters, historical archives, or multimedia resources. They're organised and curated by you for easy discovery and use. But why? Why is it worth doing, even if you have limited time, budget, or staff? Well, I think a digital collection makes important content easy to find, use, and share, especially for remote users or time-poor staff. It also helps preserve valuable information, and the best news of all, it showcases your unique resources. How can Liberty Digital help? Well, great news. I've got 4 reasons. Liberty Digital is purpose-built for libraries and archives. You can choose what you use. There are plenty of features, so many of them that you can choose from, and all of them are developed and designed to save time or effort. There is no need for a separate platform or major technical skills. So don't worry, you don't need to be the next Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos. You can easily create a wonderful digital collection in Liberty Digital. Liberty Digital's focus is digital first. So in your library or information centre, we want to help you put your digital content first. And of course, the 4th way Liberty Digital can help, it can help you reach for the sky. You can include dedicated collections, easy links to custom searches, embedded viewers for documents and videos. You can create your own subpages on your homepage and so much more. So let's stop with the preamble. Let's stop talking about it. Let's have a look. Let's check out some of the great features in Liberty Digital that can help you with your DIY digital collection. Now, some of these features today that I'm going to share are broadly grouped into 2 categories. Some will help with discoverability and access, and others will help with structure and organising that collection. And that's all about you. So let's jump in. Let's kick off by seeing how we can easily organise content with our dedicated digital collections. From our search here, you can see that I can choose a dedicated digital collection search. I can choose one or more of those to search, or uncheck them and I can search the whole collection. So this is great for spotlighting themes or topics that I might have in my collection. I can create curated groups of items. And the best news of all is that this is shareable and automatically updated as you add resources into this digital collection. You could do so much with this. Imagine your managing director turns up with a box of images from the company's founding, or you're in receipt of a donated collection. This would be perfect for that. Or what if you find a stack of annual reports from the 80s before PDFs even existed? You could easily digitize these and add them into a dedicated digital collection. What a way to get things started. You can now also make the most of that digital collection on our mobile app, Liberty Link. This is a great way for you to transport your digital collection onto a smart device. So as you can see, the look and feel is similar to what your users would experience on the homepage. They can easily access that collection. Go ahead and have a look at the catalogue record. And the best news of all, if you permit it, you can allow them to download that resource to their device. And you can see that this resource mimics a lot of the features we can see in our homepage or OPAC, but it's available to them on the go through our mobile app, Liberty Link. Not only is this a great tool for your users, it is also a fantastic tool for staff. This mobile app, which is free with Liberty Digital, lets you do administrative features such as weeding or a stock take. So remember before when I mentioned that there was no great need for a technical setup? This is a great example of that. Let's move on and have a look at another great feature, our document submission tool. So this feature is accessible from the homepage in the My Portal section. And what it does is allow staff or users to contribute items to your digital collection. As we watch this little workflow unroll here, you can see that it is really easy to use. You can select an item and it will get uploaded into the catalogue. Now you can see that that's being read. It's being read by AI. You can choose to turn this feature on or off as part of the process. One of the great benefits of turning the feature on, though, is it will help capture some of that essential cataloguing information, including an author, subjects, and possibly my favourite feature of all, in the notes section, AI can summarise what the actual document is about. Now, all of these fields that you're seeing on the screen can be completely customized by you as part of the setup. So you can decide how much or how little your users get to contribute into that catalogue entry. Once they're all done and they've clicked on submit, it's not just going to be released into the wild, it sits with a status of pending. So what happens is, this will now come through to you as an administrator for a review. And if you haven't got your AI cataloging turned on, you can go ahead and add in the options that you need to create the catalog entry. You can also edit it and get it in tip-top shape for publication into your OPAC. Now, one of the other things I did want to mention before we move on is you can actually limit the type of files that you accept as part of that document submission process, which is fantastic if, say, for example, all you're looking for are PDFs. And this way, you're not going to get any giant video files or huge PowerPoint presentations that might be a bit too big for your collection. So this is a great feature that you can turn on and have kickstart your DIY digital collection. So this would be useful for things like archives, reports, conference proceedings. You get the idea. As you can tell, I'm a little bit in love with this feature. I do love it. But let's move on. So let's have a look at our embedded document viewer. So users can access content without downloading it in our system. So I've done a search here. This is our demo system. So we've got a whole heap of resources loaded under QWERTY. And we've got this great embedded viewer here that lets me view a YouTube video right from my catalog record. So this is a fantastic way to keep my users in my catalog. And you would have noticed the option to view it online. Now, you can go ahead and turn that feature off if you don't want people to head out of the catalog, or what you can do is leave it on and then it'll open in a separate browser tab. Now, I've just paused my little workflow because I wanted to let you know that you can also embed or automatically catalog RSS feeds into your catalog using our serials module. So I've got a podcast here, which weirdly is all about the QWERTY keyboard, and I have set it up using our serials module to catalog automatically and directly into my system. So I'll let it keep going, and you can see that I can easily access the episodes as they appear. I can view that online so that I can listen to the recording, and I can go back through and have a look at a backlog of those podcasts. So that is great. We've got lots of options for things like security, privacy, and permissions, and this is one you're seeing on the screen now. So I can have a pop-up on my screen before I give anyone permission to view a document that's embedded into my catalogue. This is a great way to track people who have accepted the terms and conditions or a statement that you've made as part of accessing a particular resource. Now, you can also see that there's options to download or view that resource. And again, I can limit that using my particular roles-based permissions or controls in the system. This is a really nice way that I can allow my borrowers know how much of the catalogue they're allowed to download or view. Now, I can limit that view by the number of pages or also by content type. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you here, which got away on me a little bit, but that's okay. I've paused this particular little workflow, is our connection to SharePoint. So let's have a look. I'm going to do a search only for the resources that I have sitting within SharePoint, and you can see I do that using the type research. And once that's come up on the screen, I can actually see all of the resources that I have that have been catalogued as part of a connection to my SharePoint sites. I can sync those across into my catalogue. There is a little bit of setup required to point to the right site in the system, but what you can do is set it up so that your SharePoint sites sync into the catalogue. And I didn't view the resource because I don't have the SSO connected up. As I mentioned, this is a demo system. But with SSO, your borrowers can click on that link and view that resource straight into the system, straight into the SharePoint site, which I think is a really cool feature that we've developed. Again, another great way to build out that digital collection. So we've seen some great features so far dedicated to building out your DIY digital collection. And they include dedicated digital collections. So that was having a look at those resources we had off the search menu. The document submissions feature, which I got a little bit excited about because I do love it. And that's a way that you can grow your collection with or without the help of AI. And how useful were those embedded viewers for everything from images, videos to documents? So let's now have a look at some more features that you can use to build out your digital collections. First up, custom searches. So I've got a custom search here dedicated purely to images. So this will let me see all of the images that I have catalogued in my system. I can go ahead and view the whole lot, or I can search for something specific. Again, let's have a look at that beautiful embedded viewer that lets me have a look at that record all without leaving the system. So you can see I've got the tile view turned on here. Lets me scroll through and have a look at some thumbnails. And here's that resource there as part of my embedded view. Again, permissions-based controls let me allow downloading or not. And as I add more and more into my collection, it will automatically update that custom search. Let's head over and have a look at the faceted search now, which sits on the side. Oh no, we're not going to have a look at that. I'm going to have a look at federated search, my apologies, which I have tailored to suit digital content. So I've got my federated search connectors here, and I'm going to search for some content here that is specifically focused on digital access. And I've got some videos here through ClickView. And again, in my demo system, I'm not set up to view that, but you can see here, again, using the beautiful embedded viewer, I can watch that content from the catalogue record. So we've got another 2 great ways that you can build your DIY digital collection here through the custom searches and also our federated search. Let's have a look at eBooks now. So let's not forget our eBooks. You can grow your collection even more with eBooks. I've made another custom search here for business eBooks. Now I've done some tweaking and only opted to see the ones that are currently available. My particular ebook vendor here is Overdrive, so I can go ahead and click on the record and I can see the information about that particular resource, and I can go ahead and borrow that straight from the catalogue entry here. So this is a great way, if I've got vendors who are delivering ebooks into my platform, for me to be able to access those resources. Now, this is where I show you the cool faceted search option. So on the left-hand side of the screen here, I can use my faceted search to limit the results I'm seeing. In this instance, I'm going to limit by subject. I can click on that particular subject and narrow my results down by a particular subject. That's looking fantastic. And there we have it. Again, the option to go ahead and borrow that resource straight from the catalogue record. So another great way that you can build out that digital collection using ebooks. Well, while on the topic of ebooks, I mentioned that I've got a vendor, Overdrive, and obviously that's where I subscribe to ebooks using a publisher or a vendor. So purchasing ebooks often happens via a subscription, and that will involve a publisher agreement and some digital rights terms. And really, it's up to your users who will guide which vendors you will choose as part of that setup. On the screen there, I've listed a very, very brief and basic summary of some of the most popular vendors that we find our customers work with. And you can see some of the specialty areas that they tend to work in. So my hot tip when purchasing ebooks is just have a look across a couple of vendors, because each vendor will offer something different and they might offer different publishers or access to different titles. Reach out to them to make sure that you fully understand what those licensing terms are like, what the usage limits are, and of course the costs that are involved with that particular contract. Perhaps though, even better news is that some ebooks are even free. So out there are some fantastic open access repositories which will let you access ebooks for free. So if you're wondering how to grow that digital collection of yours and you're not sure where to start, why not have a look at one of these free open access repositories? There's some examples on the screen, just giving you a bit of a taste of the types of information that you can access out there for free. So why not explore these platforms? Because you never know what you might dig up. There might be some really valuable resources that you find that you can get at no cost. The platforms themselves are pretty easy to navigate. You'll get an idea of whatever conditions there are or any attributions that you might need to make as part of those resources that you find. So I think that would be a great way to get started without making a commitment in terms of cost to a particular ebook vendor. So you have created all of this digital content and you have popped it into your catalog. You've got all of this wonderful content ready to go. Let's give it some sparkle. So in the next couple of slides, we're going to have a look at how we can use the system to organize our digital content and make some really simple changes to the look and feel in Liberty Digital of that particular digital collection. And there are no technical skills needed, I promise you. So let's start by setting up the homepage and organizing and presenting your contents with a bit of structure. So let's use Subpages to do that. So you can see here on the left-hand side of the screen, I've got some subpages set up, and one of them I have called Archives. Now, the subpage feature that we've got in Liberty Digital would be a fantastic way for you to organize not just some content, but what about a project or a particular category or even a department? You could have a dedicated subpage. Now, these subpages, you can also make them visible by particular borrower groups. So if you've got users or patrons that need to see a little more information, think about setting subpages up for them to make that content easily accessible. Let's have a look at this one here. This one's dedicated to archives. And what I'm going to do is have a look at my photo collection. So I can just click on this image and that will take me directly to a custom search, which is my photographs, a digital collection I have made online. Again, I can use my fabulous faceted search to limit that collection down. And you can see here, again, I'm going to limit it by subject. So limiting it by anything that has group photos and easily limited there by the faceted search feature. Again, that faceted search on the side is fully customizable, so you can limit how many options people have to refine by, and it's really easy to do as part of our page setup. So that's a great way for you to use subpages to organize some of that content with a bit of structure. So let's change the view slightly and head into the admin view. Now I know I'm in the admin view because I've got a couple of extra options here on the side. So I've got some homepage options that let me as an administrator do a bit more. And I can also view my homepage as either a specific borrower or branch or as a specific branch. So in that particular view, I can also access my interface setup wizard, which are 4 very easy steps for me to customize my look and feel very easily. I can choose to nominate whether this is applicable to everyone or just a particular branch. And as I go through, I've got options to add a banner, add some extra text, and I can just step through that particular wizard step by step, change the theme. So if you've got a particular color theme in mind, you can customize that from here. If you've got a corporate style guide you'd like to follow for some particular branding, you can go ahead and add in the specific hex code there. So really, really easy to do. Now I'm just mucking around in here, so I'm not making any changes. But what I can do is keep stepping through this wizard and decide who's going to get a look at my new sparkly look and feel. The next step lets me actually make some quick admin changes on who can see what on that particular homepage. So you can see here, I can make particular search types available to particular users by just following this very easy matrix view where I can check or uncheck particular access. And the last step gives me a summary of all of the changes that I have made. But of course, as I said, we were just mucking around, so I haven't made any changes here. But you can see that this is a great way, no coding other than a hex code, for you to make some great changes to the look and feel of those home pages. And they can be specified by branches, which is fantastic. So that's our feature, which lets you hive out and divide off your collection based on some unique properties. Pretty cool, hey? So what about some tips to get started? Well, I'm not going to give them all away at once. Let's look at them one at a time. So start with one small collection. So what about those photographs that got dumped on your desk by the managing director of the founders of the business there? That would be a great way to get started. Why not use what you already have at your fingertips? Remember those annual reports which were collecting dust on a shelf somewhere? Well, go ahead and digitize them. Make them PDFs and get them into the catalogue. So think about access. We had such a quick little taste today of how many features Liberty Digital has for controlling access in the system. So whether through roles or permissions or through some privacy settings, we can really think about who gets access to what in terms of our digital content. And most importantly of all, don't aim for perfect. Just get started. You can use a lot of those features to see how content is going to look just for you as an administrator before you release them out in the wild there for your borrowers or your patrons. So that's probably my biggest tip is don't aim for perfect. Just get started and have a look at how it's going to work out for you. Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like that was a jam-packed session. So remember in the beginning, I mentioned that we were looking at two broad ways that we can organize our content. We looked at features for discoverability and access, and that included those digital collections, the mobile app, how much I loved that embedded viewer, document submissions, and then of course using custom searches to really push our content forward to our patrons. And we also looked at the using eBooks, whether they were paid or free, to help grow that collection out. The second part was dedicated to organising that collection, so giving it a little bit of sparkle. The first way we thought about was using subpages, so really making sure that departments, collections or projects got a bit of their own space in a subpage. And then we also looked at that really simple 4-step wizard that let you change as much or as little of the look and feel of your homepage as you wanted. And remember those tips to get started that we just looked at. I think that rounds out a great way that you can DIY a digital collection using Liberty Digital, regardless of the time, resources, or budget on your side. Now, of course, thank you for joining us today. That goes without saying. If you think we can help with your digital collections, scan the QR code. That will take you to our Contact Us page. We would love to hear from you. And if you are one of our customers who have joined us today to have a look, you know that you can get in touch with any of those how-to questions. So go ahead and contact the help desk and get in touch and let us help you build that DIY digital collection. Well, that's it from me. So until next time, I hope this has given you some food for thought, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks again. Bye.